Hi, and welcome back to this week's College Playing Tip of the Week. As always, I'm Jack Wang, and with me is Nancy Steenson of Steenson College Coaching. Nancy, I know we've done a video on this before, but I'd like you to go into a little bit more detail. What are the options for a student if they want to apply early to a college? What are the choices and what do they get?
Jack, I'm so glad you asked because it's not uncommon for parents and students to be a little confused about the options. There are two options, early action and early decision. Today, I'd like to talk about early action. What are the pros? What are the cons? Next week, I'll talk more about early decision. Early action is a wonderful option for many students, wherein a student applies early, meaning usually between mid-October and mid-November, instead of applying in late December or January. And they often get an answer before the end of the year or mid-January. So they get an early answer. The nice thing about early action is that it's non-binding. So a student can apply to a school early action. It's non-binding, meaning, well, now that I know I'm into this college, I think I'll apply to a bunch of others and see what happens. I don't have to commit to this college just because I got in. That's the beauty of early action. A student can kind of take a deep breath and sigh of relief that they're into college. They got in, they're in somewhere, but they still have other options that they can pursue. So I love early action for that reason. It's important to know that some colleges offer early action and some colleges offer early decision. There are very few colleges that offer both. 5 years ago, there were more, but they're sort of dwindling. So it's important to watch. You don't always get to choose. Your school that you want to apply to might offer early action, but they might offer early decision. So you have to check the websites for that. So the beauty of early action is the student gets to know they're into college, but they still have other options that they can pursue. The important thing to think about is, are you a good candidate for early action? Who is the right student for early action? I recommend that my students who feel they've performed well through high school, are very happy with their grade point average, their grades in their rigorous classes, their test scores, their achievement across the board, including extracurricularly. If they're happy with everything by the end of junior year or the summer going into senior year, then that student is a good candidate for early action. Most colleges looking at early action applications are not going to see senior year grades. So wherever you landed at the end of junior year is what they're going to see. And that surprises most people. Sometimes they'll want to see first quarter grades, but usually not. So if a student finishes junior year really strong, has 3 solid years of high school and a test score that they want to submit that is, doesn't need more work down the road, go ahead and apply early action. That's a great candidate. If, however, the student feels they want to take the SAT or ACT again and it won't be available until the end of the year, if the student is a late bloomer, let's say, who is steadily improving, we like to see this, right, over the course of high school. Perhaps they got B's and a couple C's freshman year, maybe sophomore year. Junior year, they brought that up to A's and B's. And they know with a little bit more work, they can get all A's for semester senior year. That is not a good candidate for early action. I would advise that student apply regular decision. Let the colleges see what you can do, what your potential is, what you're capable of when you get to college. Show them you've matured. Show them you realize now this stuff is serious and I'm ready to commit as a student. And that type of student is far better off waiting until regular decision instead of throwing it all out there early action and risking a denial. And that brings me to the last thing I want to say about early action. Some colleges accept or deny. Some colleges accept or defer to the regular decision, postpone that decision to the regular applicant pool. And some colleges will accept or deny or defer. They're all different. So with some colleges, you risk an outright denial because you rushed that application instead of sitting and waiting. So every student is different, but these are the things that a family wants to think about when weighing the pros and cons of early action and whether it's right for their particular student.
Awesome. Thank you, Nancy. That's great information. And yeah, oftentimes I know families want to apply early because they want to hear early, but you make a great point about the type of student, right? They may or may not be right for an early action application. Fantastic as always. Thank you. And to everyone watching, thank you again for joining us for this week's College Planning Tip of the Week. As always, please stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.